welcome to the September 4th, 2025 pre-council agenda meeting. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. We've got a good-sized group from Harding University, so thank you all for joining us this evening. Just as a reminder, if you'd like to address the city council pertaining to a particular item, just please come up to the podium and sign your name on the sign-in sheet and with your address. And I have asked Mr. Howell to lead us in our invocation and Roger Cargill to lead us in our pledge. Please stand.
Bow with me. Lord, we thank you for this day. Thanks for letting us all come together here and gather to try to improve Searcy and make Searcy a better place. Lord, we pray that we keep in mind that we're all here for the same goal. We may see it differently, we may see it from different perspectives, but we have that one goal in mind. Lord, just continue to bless us. Thank you for all that you've given us. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Call the meeting to order. First up, Richard Stafford with an update on the My Searcy projects.
Evening, everybody. So just run through our projects here real quick. So the Little Red Greenway connections, nothing really new to report on that. We're still working through the underpass at Race and how exactly that one's been a little bit of a headache, but hopefully we're gonna have that finalized and sent to RDOT for the first round of permit and questions and all that. So not a ton new to report there. Riverside Park. So today we got to meet with Mr. Phil Penny, the owner of Rogue Trails, our trail builder. He came to our office. We got to talk a little bit about Riverside Park and kind of our goals and stuff, and then took him out there, showed him Riverside, which, as the mayor and I were talking just a little bit ago, it's always fun the first time somebody gets to step foot out at Riverside, and just everybody's always the same reaction. Man, y'all are sitting on a gold mine. So it's always good to see that. And so yeah, we talked with him a little bit, and then we all left, and he unloaded his bike and just took off through the woods. So we said, you know, the park is fair game for you. Go wherever you want, do some exploring. So he was trying to log some of the existing trail out there and just start to get a feel of the park itself. And so really excited about being able to work with him. He seems like he's really on top of things. So and came really highly recommended to us. So Berry Hill Park, as you can see, construction is progressing. They're moving really good and quick on that one. Right now, our playground area is officially closed. We've begun the demo out there. We've city staff, our maintenance folks are working on demoing out the Century Trail equipment and the pavilion. And just a reminder that the Century Trail equipment was a project donated by First Security Bank, and that's going to get relocated over to Yancey Park. So we've taken that down and storing that until we can put it back over at Yancey, and then the pavilion. We're reusing that we'll be at the new dog park for a shade structure by the new dog park. So in the midst of removing all of that right now, you can see that the parking lot on Davis, as well as that northeast parking lot, all the curb has been poured for it. And so that you can start to see some of those new parking areas take shape, and that's pretty exciting to see too. Timeline, we're doing really well on Timeline. They're moving, and they're probably, I'd say, a little bit ahead. If you see all the boxes and stuff stacked out there, that's all of our playground equipment and splash pad equipment. So it's there on site, ready to start as soon as that area gets ready. So we're tracking really, really good on Timeline on that. The only other change I was going to talk about is our tennis and pickleball court resurfacing. If you remember right, we were going to try to time that into doing that at the same time the construction was going on, so we could have everything kind of closed at the same time. In talking with Delk, the contractor who is doing the resurfacing project, and if you remember right, this is a warranty project, so it's not costing the city anything. This is a warranty item. They've talked to a couple different companies. One of those is a local company, and they would really like to work with this local company. They have a good working relationship. They feel confident in this local company, and it actually is going to cost them a little bit more money to use this local company. The only problem with that is the timeline. They wouldn't be available to do this until May. And so actually, it kind of works out for us in somewhat of a favor for us, is because the state tennis tournament can now be held out there, which we won, or Searcy Schools won the bid for. So we won't be closing the pickleball courts actually at all during this construction process. And it'll be most likely around May when we'll do that court resurfacing. But that's gonna allow us to host the state high school tournament as well as another big tournament. And just, those are good things. And the ability to get to use a local contractor that this contractor is really comfortable with using. So I think all in all, it's kind of a little setback, but I think it's a good thing actually with some of that. So South Main projects. All right, so a couple weeks ago we had an awesome groundbreaking, and now it's time for the actual construction to begin. So CDI Hart team presented the city with their early site work GMP number, and that number was, I can report, be very excited about, it was 10% lower than what our DD pricing was. So there was a significant chunk taken from DD pricing to the actual bid numbers. So we were all very excited about that. That means we're tracking very well on our budget numbers on the project as a whole. So we've released them to move forward. So we are officially under construction on the South Main project. So that is a huge fun thing to report to you. The remaining design plan, so remember that was just for the site and utility work out there. And so the remaining plans have been submitted to the CDI Hart team this week. They'll start going through that bidding process for the remainder of those plans. And we're hoping should be like mid-October, we should have that final GMP price back to us for the project as a whole. So, but other than that, we're really looking good on that. So just at the beginning time, we'll probably see some Craft and Toll trucks out there. They're going to be doing some survey work, setting all the controls for the construction, all of the things that are about to happen. The next step, you'll see a construction entrance will be off of Pioneer Road on the north side of that property. There'll be a construction entrance to the kind of that community center site, and that's where they'll set up their laydown area, their job trailers and staging areas, which that in itself is a huge, big gravel area for a project this size. So, so you'll start to see that first. Don't know exactly when that's going to start. As far as of today, I think we're still waiting on ADEQ's permit for the stormwater stuff, and so we can't actually start pushing dirt until ADEQ gives us the permit back. And I know that the CDI and Hart team folks are continuously pushing on the ADQ to get that permit so we can actually start turning the dirt. But that's all I got for tonight. So exciting stuff happening on all of it, but everything seems to be tracking pretty well. So y'all got any questions, happy to answer them.
Just a quick comment. Really just want to say thanks for the coordination. I know Bear Davidson's right here with Davidson Engineering. Like on the Berry Hill project, we're just working so closely with Davidson Engineering and then our Parks and Rec and maintenance crews. We've been able to leave the playground open while construction's going on, and a lot of people continue to use that. And now to hear that the tennis courts and the pickleball courts will stay open throughout, construction and be able to host those tournaments, that's awesome. And even you just mentioned in the laydown area, for the community center, there's a lot of strategy that's going in this because we're going to be able to utilize that area for future benefit for overflow parking and food truck areas. So there's a lot of coordination even on those types of details. So
Yep.
I think there's just a real strong benefit for working and collaborating with our local contractors.
No doubt, yeah.
Good stuff.
Any
Any
other
questions from the council? All right, good stuff. Thank you,
Yep,
Richard.
you bet.
Item number 2, update from Blancett and Associates on our financial services. We've got Tim tonight.
Yeah, Kate had her baby, so y'all are stuck with me for a few months, unfortunately. We ended the month of August with a total fund balance of $29.96 million. That's an increase of $759,000 from August of last year. The general fund ended with revenues of $25.2 million for the year. Top source of that was sales and use at $16.53 million. Our year-to-date expenditures on the general fund, $17.86, which is approximately 64% of our amended budget currently. Had $6.11 million in transfers out, primarily to service the debt obligations related to all the projects that Mr. Stafford just talked about. For a net increase on the general fund of $1.05 million for the year. The street fund has revenues year-to-date of $1.55 million with expenditures of $1.88. Which is approximately 70% of its budget. A decrease of $329,000, but obviously a lot of that goes towards some of the projects that have been being completed. The other funds in the aggregate, 2.87 million in revenues with 8.19 spent, approximately 75% of the budget. 1.13 in transfers out, 4.2 million decrease year over year. And all those are related primarily to capital projects that have been completed that were budgeted for in prior years as far as the income side. Overall, pretty strong. The amount of county sales tax we've received is a little down compared to prior years, but overall the cities are still ahead. As far as our trends, that's kind of where we're at on that. Any questions or comments on August numbers? I know I'm not as pretty to look at.
It's a good report. I like to just point out, like on the street fund, we completed the street paving project earlier this year, and so that was marked, around 25 different streets, somewhere in that neighborhood that got paved, so that's where a lot of that went to. And then, of course, Fund 14 and the other funds, Fund 14 is gonna continue to go down as we work toward like the sawmill project.
Yeah, complete everything that was tasked with Fund 14 for those projects.
Good stuff.
Tim, please convey our congratulations to Kathy.
Will do.
Thanks,
Okay.
Tim, appreciate it. All right, item number 3, discussion RDOT right-of-way maintenance at interchanges. Mark, do you mind to come on up? This was a question brought to us from the council just on the upkeep and maintenance of the interchange areas. There's a lot of growth and vegetation in those areas. I know the beautification committee has also brought this to our attention as well. And so we had a meeting with RDOT. And Mark, if you don't mind, just give us an overview of that discussion.
They came down and discussed with us several things, this being the main thing, but they mow 3 times a year, supposedly. That's what the plan is. Once they mow the full right-of-way width, the other 2 times, they just mow a portion of the right-of-way. They don't go fence to fence. Only 1 time a year do they do that. So I worked you up a little sheet. If we were to do the things, or if we want to do it more often than that, we can do it several ways. We can contract with someone using RDOT specs and pay that company, or we can go through RDOT and probably use their contractor to come back and mow it multiple times. So I just put a sheet together that if we did it once a month for 8 months, which is pretty much our growing season, what that cost approximately would be. Just bear in mind, these are based on the numbers for this year's RDOT mowing. Don't know what they will be next year. Could be more, could be less. But,
Mark, can you talk a little bit about the spraying? I know that it's supposed to help control the growth, but
Yeah.
maybe they missed a few of
they
those.
mentioned that they did spray, I believe they said twice a year. But they weren't sure that they hadn't missed a spraying somewhere along the way. And basically what that does will take care of the weedy material and more or less leave your grasses growing. So it's not quite as unsightly.
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up. I mean, it seems like a lot of the growth out there is weeds, especially within the trees. Is there an opportunity for us, not to necessarily mow, but to spray and keep those weeds down? It would look a lot more attractive.
We didn't get any information on their spraying program. Just
Do we have the option to spray?
Probably, but we would have to follow the RDOT guidelines if we were to do that, or hire a contractor to do that.
And we'd have to have RDOT's permission, correct?
Yes, we would, and I think they would do that. They were very agreeable to us either having it mowed by a contractor or us doing it. But again, all that's gotta be within their guidelines, or just going and using their contract and contracting that contractor to do it additional times.
Years ago, when they went in and they trimmed a lot of the trees and opened it up where you could see really down. RDOT or a paid contractor paid for them and did that, is that correct?
That's correct.
The city did not participate.
We did not. And we talked about that very thing, how they're growing back up now, and we'd like to see them maintained. And they were very agreeable to it, and, you know, if we wanna go in and the trees that get blown down because there's no other trees supporting them any longer, you know, they're agreeable to us to go in there and cleaning that up.
And inside the interchanges, there's no private property, that's all RDOT or the state's property.
That is correct. There's fences on each side of the interstate now, and that's their right of way, it's all theirs.
And these type of agreements are common, so they've supplied us with examples of
Yes.
agreements with Jacksonville and Cabot,
Right, and I've got
or I'm
actually
sorry,
their,
is it Jonesboro?
their
Yeah,
contract
Jonesboro.
with their mowing company for last year. They've given us that to look at. So I've got the specifications on what they require. But again, this is, I mean, it's not cheap, but it definitely would add a improved look to your people who are coming into town.
Mr. Carter, yes, sir.
Mark, so you got these specs from RDOT and not the city like Jonesboro, right? You got it.
What I got, RDOT provided me, and then they sent another two that I did not print. I don't know, did you include those? The last two that they sent was Jonesboro and.
Yes, those are in the
Okay, so,
packets, yeah.
all right, yes, RDOT provided us those.
I don't know about currently today, but in the not-so-distant past, there were signs up in the little triangles at Jonesboro.
Jonesboro, I saw
that
them
said
in Jonesboro this summer,
So
a month ago.
they get sponsors for those little things that pay for their mowing.
And I brought that up in our inner city meeting, not with the highway department, about we might be able to do something similar to that. I did not ask that of the highway department, but I couldn't remember if Jonesboro had that or not. I really thought they did, but I just couldn't be certain.
So, their mayor, told us that the sponsors for those little triangle, whatever they're called, between
Quads.
the off-ramps and on-ramps,
Quads of the ramp.
right, are all mowed at no cost to the city, paid for by sponsors who have signage in those areas.
If they allow it in another city, I don't know why they would not allow it.
Something to investigate, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Mark, can you also talk about the general, I guess, permit that we talked to them about as far as just some regular upkeep type topics?
Things like, touching up arrow signage, turn arrows or crosswalks, or, painting around curbs, for instance, at Davis Drive where you turn. People are having a hard time seeing that. They're willing to give us a general permit to do that type of thing. Also to trim trees over any state highway that we would want to do.
Or do some pressure washing?
Pressure washing of sidewalks, et cetera, yeah. Just general things, not structural changes, but just general maintenance upkeep.
So, basically, we can put in a request and then wait a year for potentially for something simple to be addressed, or we can have a general permit where if we want to expedite the process, we can get in there and paint a curb and make
Yes,
it look
sir.
better.
That's correct.
So that's the gist of it. Which would be nice to have, at least that gives us the option.
Yeah, there are numerous crosswalks in the downtown area, both on Main and Race, that we always have to get permission currently to go in and do anything to. But, even though they expect us to do it, we've got to get a permit. But if we got this one, it's a yearly permit, so you got to do it every January. You got to renew it.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing we can dig in deeper are the sponsor sign options to put in the right-of-way areas. That might offset some of our expenses for upkeep. I know the city's got a sprayer now, and that's a great tool asset to use. So we can look into the spraying side of this, not just the mowing side of this.
And they will be very particular about how you go about that on the right-of-way.
Well, I've appreciated when they cleared all of, whatever you call them, the quadrants. And you can see, and it looks good, but if it's not maintained, it looks bad again. But if we start this, we'll be doing this forever. And that's pretty expensive right there.
Well, again, that's a contractor. We could do it.
But, I mean.
You're gonna pay manpower.
Yeah, but don't we have enough for our crews to do that?
We do, but if it were gonna be me, I would have probably one person and then maybe some, I don't know if they would allow community service to help us or not, but we've got the equipment that could mow it.
Well, I'm kinda like Chris, at the bare minimum, we ought to get permission to spray it.
I think it'd make it, in fact, I was driving down, the Ray Street exit, and one of our guys was spraying something down there with a sprayer. I don't know what he was spraying, but maybe it's grass of some sort, but, anyway, we're already doing it to a small extent.
We hit the sidewalks with spray periodically to kill the grass that grows up in the cracks.
Another topic we discussed with them are the fences that are either in bad shape or not even existent, you know, in some areas.
Or overgrown.
Or overgrown.
Yeah, we have cleared a lot of those, they've let us do that, and that would be permitted in this also.
Do they have a program, sorry, Matt, do they have a program to, I mean, we clean them, they have a program to prevent them from being grown right back up?
No, they do not maintain the fence areas very well at all.
So, and that's part of, I guess, our issue, is that they, let's just say they do it 3 times a year. They may not do it to the level of, attention to detail, that we would like to see it done. So, you know, us having maybe a little bit of, at least permission to address some of these areas, at least we could clean it up to a higher level than maybe what we see right now.
Don, you said something that once we start it, it's ours. I mean, is that just from a practical standpoint, or is that, there's no law that says, hey, once you start it, you gotta keep?
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if we start doing
No.
this, they're gonna shift their people other places, and they're gonna expect us to do it. I wanna investigate this a little bit more. I just think this is a lot of money for us to spend, but I would like to further investigate about being able to spray, do minimum maintenance, but I still think they need to come in 2 or 3 times a year and do, you know, because, I mean, some of those banks up there, we don't need to be on.
And if there's a way for us to supplement what they're already doing, that might be the key.
Well, this would be something, actually, I gave you 8 months, but then they said in our meeting they would pay for what they're currently doing, they will pay for that. We could just add to the cost, to the number of mowings, which would
The
be our cost.
frequency, yeah, so if they go ahead and do the 3 that they're already doing, and we would like to increase the frequency, then we could cover the cost
extra
or do
5
it
or 6.
ourselves.
Yeah, or do it ourselves.
Well, I would like for you to check and see if we could use community service personnel and spraying and all of that stuff. And I want to continue to think about this, but
I'm making myself a note there, so I'll get it done.
One of the eyesores that we have along the highways is the fence.
Yep.
And it grows up, you know, pretty badly on their side and our side too, because it's hard to navigate around that fence and spraying, maybe a total vegetation, killer right on the fence line.
And I'll have to say that our community service, Jeff had them do a lot of that this past year. Didn't get the whole stretch done by any means, but along by the shopping center, they cleaned up a tremendous amount out there. It really looked a lot better.
Poplar.
Along
Grove.
Poplar and down by the new shopping center.
I'd like to move this on down the road, maybe not for Tuesday night, but move it down and come back to it in October and see if we can fine tune it a little bit.
It's a great idea.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Item number 4, discussion of Ford Cersei Marketing Airport property. I believe we've got Darrell Welch with us this evening.
Good evening. What we're asking tonight is just really just your formal approval of us to market some property that we've identified at the airport to market for industrial use and job creation. So I think that, I don't know, did Richard have?
Yeah, we've got the
Okay,
area.
y'all have got, okay. Yeah, so that's a piece of property that we've been exploring, you know, Roger was, anyway, Roger's here if you have any questions for him, but he and I kind of discussed this, and then we went to the airport commission, and they've identified this as a, you know, what we all feel like the most opportune site to develop for industrial use, and obviously with the state's target at, you know, aerospace and aviation, we've started to explore this over the last year. So I think, was it January, February that we went, Roger and I went to New Orleans to a national aviation, a business aviation conference just to kind of learn a little bit. And then last month I went to aerospace and defense conference up in Northwest Arkansas, that basically a lot of companies that deal in that sector. And so now with this property kind of that we've identified, the state has just rolled out a site development grant program. We were awarded money for Site 1, and we're in the process of finishing that project right now, but this would give us the opportunity to apply for a grant for some funding to develop that property. And so Bear and I have discussed already, and he's putting together timelines and pricings as far as what we feel like would be the, you know, appropriate due diligence along the way to kind of start to really kind of explore this. And so we're just asking for kind of your blessing for us to do what we've kind of already been doing a little bit. So, yeah. Any questions about that, or?
I think if we got a chance, we need to move it forward.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Do I recall correctly that if somebody's looking for a new hangar, we're looking at the west side of the runway to do that now?
Hang on a second.
We're still looking at both sides.
Okay, okay. And then there have been, as I recall, wetland issues down here or something like that.
I've
Is that
started to
gonna-
explore that a little bit. And Mark and I talked actually this morning, I think, was it Gin Creek that ran through the southern part there? And I believe there's about 30 acres. The top 20 are not in a flood zone right now, and the bottom 10 would be impacted by that, we think. And so, based on the information that I have, we haven't done the homework yet, but.
The creek actually used to run through where the southern part of the runway is. We realigned that 20-plus years ago and got it all done by FEMA and approved, so we're good. But there could be some wetlands down in the southern part of that area, yes.
Yeah, and I looked on just the FEMA flood maps and just kind of probably about right in here is where I would suspect that it, you know, these would be, you know, lower areas. So obviously that's something that Bear and I and the others
One thing I would say about that is just because it's shows that on the flood map doesn't mean there couldn't be more that is wetlands. So we would have to get that study.
And that would be part of that first part of the phase 1 or phase 2, I guess. And so as the state goes, we'd kind of stagger it in progression as far as to what we would want to do first. And obviously, when they're looking at spending money, they think that due diligence is, you know, obviously the best thing we could do on the front end. And so with Site 1, we had already done that due diligence before I got involved. And so this would kind of put us in a little different layer of things, but basically the same process that we went through with Site 1. Yes, sir.
Mr. Morris?
I had a question, Mr. Pearson. The airport commission has approved this, is my understanding, that is correct?
Yes, sir, this and the parcel on the west side, if we choose to go after the west side parcel also.
Thank you, sir.
And this falls right in line with the master plan, the economic development master plan, target sectors.
Right, yeah, and the airport and the city would have total control over who came here. It's just a matter of, you know, we know that we want to focus on that aerospace business. And so I talked to actually Olivia at the state this morning and was asking her about her opinion, the fact that we're being specific on what we'd want to do with it. And there's no, we think it maybe puts us in a better position because, you know, we're a little more targeted, so.
So, any other questions from the council?
Well, if we had some wetland there we had to deal with, is there still a possibility, like there was years ago, to have a trade-off? Establish wetland in a different location?
Typically, that's like a 3 for 1, 3
Okay.
acres for 1,
Yeah.
something similar to that, trade-off.
So right now, Ford Cersei's just, I guess, requesting a vote, nod, blessing from the council to move forward with due diligence, starting to look at marketing the property, possibly pursue another grant.
And applying for the grant,
for the
really.
grant
So
that's coming.
October the 3rd is the deadline for us to intent to apply. And then we'd let them know, and then November the 7th is when we would submit the formal application with documentation. And that would be a progression of items, and I would assume that if we identified that there were wetlands, next thing on the list would be to deal with it. And so,
And there wouldn't be a need for resolution from the city to apply for the grant because the grant would be Ford Cersei.
correct, just
So
like
it-
we did with
just
the
with- yeah.
Site 1, yes.
Okay.
But we could go on record saying we're all for you,
Yeah.
go after it.
We're basically just asking for yeah, just keeping you guys in the loop and making sure we're all on the same page.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. All right, is it okay with the council move that forward?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Daryl and Roger. Item number 5, discussion regarding the amendments to Chapter 4 alcoholic beverages of the Code of Ordinances. Will?
The state legislature passed Act 672, which became law on August the 5th. And the change, if you recall, you previously must have been a nonprofit entity to apply for a private club permit. The state has changed that to be any entity that's authorized to do business in the state of Arkansas. Our ordinance has always tracked state law in that regard, and so there's 3 places in our ordinance where it mentions nonprofit entity. And my recommendation for your consideration is just that we simply amend our ordinance to add the exact same definition to mirror state law as it always has. Doesn't change any process, doesn't change any authority, doesn't change anything about the ordinance other than the type of entity that can submit application.
Mr. Moore, this would simply put us consistent with the new state law.
That's right.
Okay, and would the ordinance be prepared for Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a way we could get a red line version before then, before the meeting?
I will try to do that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And I don't know if it got printed in color, but I had highlighted the 3 locations where it mentions nonprofit. And I'll make sure that gets recirculated as well.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
And it will be something as simple as defined by Arkansas Code annotated 1, 2, 3, 4, as far as defining the entity.
Well, I just never did understand why they had that nonprofit entity involved in all this process. This is gonna be much cleaner and more informative of who's making the real application.
That's right.
Okay, moving that forward. Item number 6, discussion of accepting a dedication and construction of a sidewalk near Sidney Diener Elementary. Mark, it's my understanding we may not need a dedication.
From what I've learned today, I don't think that we do. But we still would like to build a sidewalk.
Let's go ahead and just update the council on what the, I guess, situation is as far as the foot traffic by Sidney Diener.
Okay, you got an image up. Can you zoom in just a little bit tighter? Or is that on? Yeah. The grassy area, right there, yeah, right there. So the parents park over in the northern parking lot a lot of times. They let the children walk down to the crosswalk you can see across. But there's no sidewalk. There's a narrow strip of asphalt along the street. But when the police officer's standing there waving traffic, everybody's looking at him. And the kids are walking on the edge of Benton Street, so they're kind of swerving over towards the children. So what we'd like to do is build a sidewalk from this parking lot to the other parking lot. And what I've learned today is that the church owns the property except for the 30 feet adjacent to the section line, which runs down just a little bit east of the curb line on that road. So we've already got the right of way to do it, but we'd like to be approved to build a sidewalk
We've
there.
already met with the church.
Yeah,
They're,
church is agreeable.
yeah, agreeable to it, and we would use our own personnel to,
Yeah, we'll just
Construct
do
the
it, just
sidewalk.
basically building the walk there. We thought up until probably 2 o'clock this afternoon that we would have to acquire some right of way, but turns out I don't believe that we did.
okay, is there an official action we need? I guess just a vote to
I mean,
construct
we
a
can
sidewalk.
pay this out of the street department existing funds,
Okay,
so.
all right, we'll move it forward and then we'll vote on it
Yeah.
Tuesday. Thanks, Mark. Item number 7, request for funds and waive bidding for purchase and maintenance of pool heaters. Sounds like we're in a little bit of a pickle with our pool right now.
Big time.
I guess that would be a headline, Greg.
It's not a pickleball.
I wish it was so some of you may know, some of you may not. One of our heaters has already been out for 3 weeks. We've had different companies come out and look at it. We've looked at it in-house. We could get it repaired, but we're kicking the can down the road. The units that we currently have, they're not ideal, but it's what was spec'd by the company that built, or that drew out and laid out the pool. So what I'm asking for is one, a timely manner, if we go through the whole bidding process, you're probably looking at mid-October, early November before I could place an order for heaters. By then, the big heater will have been out for 2 or 3 months. And after meeting with Jeff, the city electrician and the city plumber, then the other one and one of these companies, the therapy one is about to go out also. So we could fix the one and redo the other one in next year's budget, or we could just go ahead and do both of them now. The upside of going to these new heaters is the old ones are about 80 to 83% efficient when it comes to gas usage. The new ones are 97%. So you're looking at a low-end savings of $4,000 a year per heater, high-end around $6,000. So you could be potentially, right now my line item for gas is $47,000 a year. So you could potentially take $8,000 to $12,000 off of that per year for getting these heaters, as well as I'm waiting to hear back from Summit, and Jeff is waiting to hear back from Clear Results for even more rebates that we could get with these high efficiency. They also come with a service contract, which we're getting all of our stuff, service contract now to be more proactive on everything we have moving forward. These are state of the art. They will let your phone know if something's about to go wrong. They keep track of everything.
So, Mike,
That's just
you've already reached out to multiple companies to
3
try to
different
get
companies.
quotes
Yes.
to expedite the process.
And I got 2, for the exact same thing, I have 2 quotes which are in front of you. The third one was not able to make it to me today. They told me that they wanted to have their people on site to look at where it potentially goes, so they couldn't get on site till next week. But I gave them a deadline, all 3 of a time deadline of 11 o'clock today, and these are the 2 that I have fully presented. My recommendation is Clarity Pools. That's who's very familiar with it. That's who met with the internal staff here. Well, Jeff has been on board with all this from the get-go too. You're looking at a 3-year warranty with the service contract also, per unit. And if I'm not mistaken, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but they said the other places that have this heater, the first time that they've been shown issues is they've been 11 years old. So they're the most up-to-date, and to go along with what we're about to get out there with the aquatics park, it would be nice to have everything up to date and running with the same stuff.
So currently, the water temperature is holding steady, but
About 80 degrees.
for pretty in short order, it's gonna start dropping.
Because it's been hot out, it's been all right.
I know I'm already receiving calls
So
from the
am I.
high school swim team, and
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's kids getting out of the water with blue lips, and when the therapy pool goes down, y'all's phones are really gonna blow up.
Well, we need to do this. The question is, where are we gonna get this $115,490?
That I cannot answer. Do not have the answer for that. It
Well-
is not in my budget.
right, they'd come from unappropriated reserves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say we move it forward to act on it Tuesday night.
How soon would they be able? to
So
address
on
that?
here, it talks about 2 to 3 weeks. If I was to place the call tomorrow, because I had a good feeling, I could probably have them in 2 weeks. And you're looking at a 2-day shutdown period to get them replaced and the new ones in. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we could have these up and running.
And this does include a maintenance program.
Yes, for a year. As well as the company will actually come down and train us on all the logistics side of it.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Item number 8, request for funds for Central Square dispatch toward the consolidation expenses. Chief Bogan.
Yes, sir. Chief Donovan was unable to be here this evening, so I'll try and work through this for you. So Central Square is our current CAD vendor. We've used them for years. And of course, with the consolidation with Tyler Tech, I guess let me back up. Central Square's contract is due in September every year. When we worked through our budget at the end of last year, we were still in the infancy of Tyler Tech, and we were, I guess, looking back, it was probably wishful thinking, but we didn't build in this year's contract for Central Square in hopes that we would already be with Tyler. Well, we're not gonna switch to Tyler till the end of next month, so that leaves us about a month short. So we reached out to Central Square, and of course, the PD is kind of in the same boat, but a little bit different. We asked for a month-to-month extension. The lowest they would go would be 6 months. So we have to go with a 6 months extension to cover that 1 month gap. And that's if we are able to go live in October, which I think we will, but that does cover us through March, should something else happen. So like I said, we just didn't plan on building that in last year's budget in hopes that we would already be further along with Tyler.
Well, y'all have been doing a great job. It's been a heavy lift with this consolidation. It's been a true team effort all across the board. So this is just one of those expenses that go along with the
Yes, sir.
consolidation.
We were hoping to not have to go down that road, but they did make us a deal with 6 months, so we were happy with that. Yeah.
What
Go ahead, sir.
the agenda item says iPad, so,
It's a separate one.
okay,
Yeah.
I was confused because I saw, all right.
Chief, my question was, has this got anything to do in bearing the fact that central dispatch is now centrally located with the county? Does this have anything?
So, yes, sir. So, when the state law changed to where they only allow one PSAP, one 911 call center per county, the county's CAD was a little bit dated. Our CAD was not compatible with that CAD. And of course, we went through a shopping period, the county did at least, and they landed with Tyler Technology. Now, that's a fantastic vendor, and they have a solution for just about anything in the public sector, to be honest with you. I think even our payroll system, I believe, is Tyler Technology. So they offer a police solution, a fire solution, a CAD solution, a jail solution. So the county has opted to go with that countywide for their records keeping. So along with that, our computer-aided dispatch, the screens we see in our fire trucks and the police cars, that tracks all of our response times and our call volumes and things like that. So Central Square is what we're using to do that now. That'll go away and it'll be replaced with the Tyler Technologies. Yes, sir. We're just a month or so out of time, so we have to re-up that contract a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
That's a great segue to the next agenda item. If you want to talk about the iPads.
Absolutely, if y'all are ready, yes, sir. So we are currently using Dell ruggedized laptops in the fire trucks to run that software. And they're the same laptops that go in police cars and everything else. And those laptops are provided by IT in their budget, and they're replaced every, I believe it's 5 years, it may be longer than that. Last year, those computers were replaced, and we actually stalled a little bit because we were thinking about going with iPads then. But again, at the time, we weren't exactly sure what solutions the county was going to land with and which ones we were going to land with and if they'd be compatible and whatnot. So after going through all of our training with the new software, we went through training with the laptop version of the software and then again with the iPad version. And by and large, all of our employees, and myself included, we think the iPad version is far superior to the browser-based function with the laptop. So we know those laptops are still relatively new. They're only about a year or so old, but I went and talked with Mr. Gifford, and he was on board with this also. If we are able to go forward with the iPad purchase through Fund 18, the county fire tax, we would rotate those laptops back to IT, and they could redistribute them through the city and still have, they still have a very usable lifespan. So our hope is that we can replace the laptops that we have now with iPads, and then moving in the future, Mr. Gifford said they would put those in the cycle and replace them every 5 or 6 years or whatever it is. And honestly, they're considerably cheaper than the laptop, so in the long term, it would probably be cheaper. We just have to, do the upfront cost.
And you're just requesting to use existing funds from the quarter cent?
From the fire tax, yes,
Fire
sir.
tax,
It's got 15,000, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I say move both these items forward.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10, request for funds to purchase 624 residential trash containers in the amount of $51,285.48. Todd?
What happened to 11 to 10?
I'm sorry?
Good evening. Yes, I recommend, we've had an uptick in people getting replacement cans, and I expect it to pick up over the next 3 months. This is about 3 times our usual what we would order in a year, but I expect it. They don't spoil. We've got several thousand of these out right now. I think we need to look at going forward, getting a certain percentage up every year just to naturally take care of them, and growth. 3% growth is almost equal to 200 cans a year.
Well, we're gonna need them, especially with our plans on the.
I think so, and I think, I talked about the budget, and we're doing good on our spend this year. I think we can move some money around and cover this.
I say we move it forward.
Same thing.
Thank you, Todd.
Todd, I understand the football team waiting on the coach. You need to take off.
Item number 11, accepting bids for dog park, Yancey Park improvements. Bear Davidson's here with us. I believe that's coming Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mayor. We'll be opening bids Tuesday at 10 a.m. in this room for our improvements to Yancey Park and the Carmichael Center. That's our dog park and basketball courts at Yancey. Richard's going to report those numbers to you on Tuesday for me. I've got a conflict, so I won't be here, but wanted to share some important numbers with you tonight that may be good to reference on Tuesday while you're evaluating those numbers that come in. A&P had allocated $245,600 to this project. Talked with Jason earlier this week. The city had appropriated a little over $700,000, I think about $706,000 or $708,000. That's a total of right around $950,000 that have been allocated between the city and the A&P Commission. We're hoping, based on our most recent estimate, that this bid will come in around 1.05. That's without a deductive alternate. We included some of the trail at Carmichael as a deductive alternate that could be backed out of the contract. And our estimate with that taken out is around $850,000. So we hope that the whole thing comes in within that 950 number, but if it doesn't, we've got it set up to where we could easily remove a portion of the trail that's around the perimeter of the Carmichael area and wouldn't directly impact the dog park to get this project within budget. Our old bid on this work, if you recall, when these were combined, both at the Carmichael and when there was some more sidewalk work being done around the Carmichael, was 1.15 was our low bid. I think that was in late 23 or maybe it was in 24. But anyway, I thought those numbers might be useful to you Tuesday night as we weigh the bids that come in. We do have a good bidders list, so we're hoping for a good number. Try to answer any questions if you have them. Thanks.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. So that would go hand in hand, both items 11 and 12. Is it okay to move both forward?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 13, accepting of bids for the street striping project. Mark, keeping you hopping today, Mark.
So far, we have had $75,000 in our regular street budget this year for striping. We got 3 bids for the project, $80,000, $90,000, and $186,500. So I've done some checking around. I'm familiar with one of these fairly well. The others, I did some checking. The $80,000 one, I got a good recommendation from Garland County. They're actually working for them currently and doing a good job. So that's what I'm going to recommend to you is that one, and we can, according to the contract that we would sign with them, we could reduce. We got $75,000. We can reduce that up to 25% or raise it 25%. According to our contract, so we would, unless you want to use another $5,000, we would just delete some of the streets.
We're badly in need of striping on a lot of streets.
And I don't know if you've seen the map, but it's most of our major thoroughfares are going to be restriped that are city streets. I don't know that it's every one of them, but the vast majority of any major thoroughfare would be updated, touched up,
Are you
repainted.
satisfied with the recommendation you got on Arkansas fence and guardrail?
Yes, sir.
I say we move it forward, but for the 80,000, include 5 more.
Mark, does that include striping at the shopping center area, or would that be?
That would not get the roundabout
Okay.
because we're gonna have to do that by hand almost. But it would do everything in that area, yes, all the streets in that area.
Okay, but it'd be probably good to look at the shopping roundabout area. I know it's fading and
We intend to do that here with our city crew.
personnel. Okay. All right, so that's a move forward with at 80. Yes. Good deal. Thank you, Mark. Okay, item number 14 is a resolution for approval to apply for a police grant with Arkansas Department of Health, $75,000 for peer recovery specialists. And let's see, Ryan, you mind to come up? Is there a match with this one?
No match. This is a no match grant. It's just a grant to continue the funding for our peer recovery specialist. It's, I think, a 1-year grant with the possibility of renewing it up to 6 years.
So we move it forward.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving forward. Thank you. Item number 15 is a resolution for lien certified to the tax collector against certain properties in Searcy as a result of grass cutting expenses and abatement of other nuisances. Thank you. Item number 16 is also a resolution for abandonment of fully utilized assets, 2011 Crown Victoria cars.
I would say those Crown Vics are fully utilized.
That lasted well.
Can't believe y'all want to let those go.
Yeah.
These are some of the last ones that we have in stock.
That's great. Item number 17, resolution to approve application for a 5-year 0% loan for soft surface trails. Richard, I'll let you update, but we're excited to have this opportunity.
Yeah, we've talked about this the last couple months, the opportunity through the Walton Family Foundation. We worked with the Arkansas Parks and Rec Foundation, who supplied us the plans or the funding to do these master plans for these trail projects to submit to the state. We submitted our application to the state here just a couple of weeks ago for the grant. Our total project cost was a little over 1.1 million. So our match is somewhere in the neighborhood, I don't have the exact numbers, but 550,000, I think, something like that. So, but the Walton Family Foundation is offering the city to do a 0% loan for up to 5 years, up to $500,000 for that project, for the match. So this resolution would be to accept that offer of a 0% loan for 5 years, $500,000.
Would that be entirely the city's project, or would there be a joint venture on that portion of it between AP and Searcy?
No, that is just, that is a total city project. So it's, the grant is state parks grant. It's a city ask, and so it's a total city project.
So we're gonna get a 0% loan for 5 years, for how much?
500,000.
And then we're gonna pay that back with the grant when we get it?
No, that's our match. So it's a
spreads our match
50-50.
out.
Yeah, the grant was a 50-50 match. It was a $1.1 million project. So our total match is about 5.5 million, or 550,000, or whatever. $500,000.
But 500 of that
Thank you.
would be spread out over
Yes,
5 years.
and so like the Waltons are offering for our match portion that's required to be, spread out over that 5 years for 0%. Sorry, tongue-tied.
So we just work that into our budget over 5 years?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So we move it forward?
Thank you. Item number 18 is a discussion, perhaps creating an ordinance for chalk markings only. This goes along, do we have photos for this that we can pull up? So as you all know, there's utility work all over town. And so we can work hard on beautification efforts, put down new paving and sidewalks and all that, and then people come along and spray paint it. So we would like the council to consider making it mandatory to use a chalk paint, which does go away. Mark, you know more about this than I do.
Chalk paint will typically, these are some markings just down the street here, and those will probably be there for at least 9 to 12 months, maybe longer than that. Chalk markings, on the other hand, would disappear probably in 2 to 4 weeks.
And we have this type of issue all over the place.
Everywhere, yes, everywhere. Anywhere that someone does a one call, this happens. So chalk is a little bit more expensive if you buy cans of that for marking. And we would only be requiring that on paved surfaces, streets, sidewalks, et cetera, city parking lots.
Are a lot of cities doing this?
I don't know that I would say a lot do. There are some that do, though.
I think we ought to require it on residents' driveways too,
That's,
while we're doing it.
certainly if it's in the right of way, we can do that, and I would say we probably could. But I mean, if that homeowner wanted to
Most of
spray,
the
I don't
time
know.
it would be.
Yeah, I think everyone would be in agreement with that.
Mark, we would get the word out to the.
We would have to, yes, we'd have to notify all the one call people and there are numerous companies that do that now. It used to be one markups, but now we've probably got 4 or 5 or 6 different companies that mark in Searcy.
Would there be anything in the ordinance, with respect to penalty?
Well, I would hope that there would be. We would have to, we've not even begun an ordinance yet, but that's kind of why we're here tonight, is to talk about it. Or is the council willing to do this?
Either that or requirement removal.
I don't know how you're gonna.
I think it's a good
Well,
idea.
they-
I think we
they
should
figure
move it
that one
forward
out.
and create an ordinance, and there should be some repercussion if.
I would agree that there should be a penalty, and it should be each and every day that it persists.
100%.
So if, you mark with chalk paint, you get a good rain, is it gonna?
It's gonna be there fainter. Typically, again, that's why I said 2 to 4 weeks. You're usually gonna get something in that range. It's gonna fade out, where you might still see a little trace of it, but effectively, it's gonna be gone. Well, this will be there for probably at least a year.
Well, I work with some folks that do marking, and, they're not gonna be happy with it.
No, they're not, but we make everyone do it. We would do it. I mean, we mark for our traffic signals and, our fiber system, so we would have to follow that as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I think this would be a great improvement.
So I guess what we're asking for is it'll take us a little bit to work up. So maybe by October, we can have a draft ordinance for y'all. Okay.
Markers has always been kind of what I would determine as legalized graffiti.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, you can see on some of these pictures, it's just certain intersections, it's everywhere.
I'm going with it.
All right, thank you.
Now back up and ask a question. That, you are gonna have an ordinance prepared on the, change of the alcohol.
Yes, sir.
New law from Tuesday night, correct?
Yes, sir.
Good, thank you, thank you.
And Mrs. Hale, did you have a question?
I do. Will, do you have an update, or do you know if they've started doing anything with the hotel that we voted to?
Yes, there's a lot there. Okay. They filed a notice of appeal of your decision. I've spoken to the attorney that filed it. They only did have to stay any demolition of the structure. They've not filed an appeal, they filed a notice of appeal. I tried to articulate the cadence and methodology which was these things go down. Is Kim here? Ken and I have spoken, the individual's got another property in town that's becoming a problem. Ken, have they done any work on the hotel? We're talking about the Cosby situation. Is it secured at all?
Yeah, it's secured. The building's secured.
So the building's been secured, they mowed it. I've spoken to the attorney, I told him that the real problem here is the cost of demolition. I mean, you could all get convicted about needing to do something about it, but the number on that one's gonna be a large six-figure number.
Did we initiate a lawsuit to require them to?
We did not. They filed a notice of appeal of the decision to condemn the property.
File a notice of appeal where?
White County Circuit Court.
Okay. So they initiated the.
That's correct. That's correct.
Along those, I'm sorry, along those same lines for you or Ken, what's up with Coast to Coast?
It's falling down.
It's had a failure to appear in district court on Tuesday. I'm told it's very close to being sold, and I'd be very happy with either individual that I know is directly involved, because they would demolish the property.
You know that it's been very close to being sold for 5 years, right?
Well, I personally know that it's very close to being sold at this time, and so, the folks that own that property they march to the beat of their own drum. So we are working, Judge Kennedy and I are working very hard on the situation.
All right, thank you, Will.
Also a huge number on demolition, just
Oh,
for the record, like
sure.
yeah.
All right, item number 19 is the budget adjustment ordinance. And we'll have some additional numbers to add to that for Tuesday, once we get the bid in for the dog park and Yancey Park.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought he said he had a bid opening.
It's Tuesday. Yeah, it'll be Tuesday. All right, so that's the last of our agenda items. I do have written down Mr. Mars would like to come speak.
Good evening, City Council, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for providing the venue to exercise a civil right that I've never done before, to come and address you. So, looking forward to you hearing my thoughts on a few things. My name is Troy Mars. I've called Searcy home for 20 years. My wife is a school teacher, Searcy Schools for 16 years. I have daughters that attend Searcy Schools. We love Searcy. I'm a member of the Searcy Chamber, a 2013 graduate of the Searcy Leadership Institute. I currently own Little Rock Roofing, and I sit on the board of the Arkansas Roofing Association. This will be most of what I address this evening. I come to you to address the current roofing projects that the city has undertaken and completed. I'm not here to question who has been performing the work on these projects, but rather to address how the city has approached these projects and highlight the opportunity we have to be more transparent with these funds that are spent on them. Over the past few months, I've had numerous firsthand conversations with local roofers and contractors, some that have been in business in Searcy for 15 years, and one that has been in business in Searcy for over 30 years. Included in that is many discussions with contractors across Central Arkansas involved in government contracts and city contracts. To summarize these conversations, what is the city of Searcy doing? We have seen no public bids, no announcements of bidding opportunities, no site walkthroughs, no bid openings, and no official award announcements, which all are standard practices and procedures in the public sector of contracting. How is the city actually choosing the contractors? Why aren't bids being solicited publicly? These questions naturally arise, along with concerns about why local contractors have not had the opportunity to serve the city they live in. In my research over the past month, I've uncovered several concerning issues. First, the city appears to have a lack of clear guidance or protocols for bidding on projects, including bid walkthroughs, RFQs, bid openings, and awards of contracts. There's no transparent process outlined on the city website or elsewhere explaining how contractors are selected. This approach falls short of the industry standards. I have personally asked for this information and have yet to receive a clear answer on it. Second, I have secondhand knowledge of a roofing contractor has been attempting to get answers from Mr. Webb for weeks, possibly even months, but has yet to receive a response. This contractor has even had his lawyer reach out with limited reply. My brief conversation with the mayor and a city council member have yielded little information, mostly pointing back to Mr. Webb or showing a general lack of knowledge about the process. Additionally, I was informed by a well-respected roofer in the Searcy, serving Searcy for over 30 years, that the threshold for public bidding might be $37,000. If that is correct, I must express my concern that this threshold is significantly too high and needs to be adjusted immediately to ensure transparency. Even if the work going to be done is to be covered by insurance, the city has a responsibility to choose the best contractor for the job. This could be price, quality of material, craftsmanship, and warranties given. I also have direct knowledge of a situation concerning a roof project at Smyrna Church west of town. That was recently awarded for $39,970. Where was the public bid for this project? I personally submitted months earlier to the Historical Society a bid for this project nearly $8,000 less than what was approved. This project exceeded the threshold that I was told secondhand. Where was the solicitation for this bid? When was the job site walkthrough? When was the bid opening? These should all be public records, readily accessible. This award goes directly against what I assume are the current guidelines. If these guidelines are set by the city, then by my quick estimation, at least 3 of the 4 recent roofing projects appear to exceed that threshold, and it should have triggered a public bidding process. Again, I ask, where is the public bid announced? When did the job site walkthroughs take place? What specifications were contractors expected to meet? These are basic industry standards of elements of public contracting that I know you all are aware of. Their absence or lack of transparency points to a direct conflict with the city's unreachable policies. If guidelines are in place, they are not being followed. If they are not in place, that's even more concerning and needs immediate attention. This situation raises a serious concern that the city has likely overspent on these roofing projects, bypassing essential transparency and the competitive bidding procedures. Moving forward, I strongly urge that the city of Searcy implement a public bidding process for all projects exceeding $10,000. This aligns with practices in other Arkansas cities and would promote transparency, accountability, and the fair use of taxpayer dollars. Announcements should be made publicly through the city website, social media, or industry standard Dodge or Construct Connect. To wrap up, that's all I have. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I hope you address these issues and continue to improve our city.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh, for your comments. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
There are guidelines set by the state for bidding projects. I believe the threshold is a little over 43,000. Is that accurate? What's that?
$50,000.
52.
Mark, you have something?
It's, depending on what it's for public works projects, it's 50,000. Others, it might be 35,000, but that is adjusted for consumer, with the consumer price index, which brings it up to in the 43,000.
Right, I think it was recently increased, right? And we, I mean, obviously, we go to bid on projects all the time. So, any other comments from the council?
So the threshold for requiring public bidding on public works is 50,000?
Yes.
And then,
Other types of things, commodities, things that would not be considered public works, it's 35, and then that's tied to the CPI.
okay,
So the example given with Smyrna Church, I didn't reach that threshold. And so based on, I guess, seeking quotes or bids, and then also referral sources with that particular project, a contractor was selected, but that was underneath that.
If that were under the threshold at the time the bid was done, we would not have had to take a bid for that one.
this threshold is established by the state of
By the
Arkansas?
state.
That is state law.
Yeah.
Now, you can choose to make it lower. Should you choose, should the council choose to do that, you can set any number lower than that you want to.
I will say this, recently, the council approved, what, a 5%, I don't know what the correct term would be, preference for local bidders.
That's again governed by state law.
That's a state law thing, yeah.
But we actually, we did an ordinance in the last couple of years that we tie our number to what the state requires, is what the council did, rather than seek a lower number.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Any other comments? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you.